Hello, and welcome to another fun-filled episode of Hump Day Hymns here at Trinity St. Andrew's United Church in Renfrew, Ontario. I am the musical director here, Mike McCormick, and we are going to go old school here. We're going to do like your old school hymn sing program, or as James pointed out earlier, Sing-Along Jubilee that featured Anne Murray briefly. So Melissa Friske on my right, your left, will be playing the part of Anne Murray, and you will be the married couple that bickers during the service. And so, I hope you were all able to look at on Facebook. I put a list of all the hymns we're going to sing, so I'm hoping that you'll sing along. We've recently tried doing the closed captions. I'm not sure we're going to do that because we're kind of embarrassed what Facebook closed captioning thinks we're actually saying. So you find your own lyrics. So we're just going to sort of go around the circle, and we're going to sing some hymns. We're going to start off with I'll Fly Away. And Melissa, you picked this. Any particular reason?
This is something that we used to sing during gathering music. It's an old favorite. Certainly something Betty Troke, who used to be a lifetime choir member and part-time organist with the church, and she would always pick this song.
Oh, yeah?
So that'd be nice to
And Melissa, did you know that Betty is James's cousin?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that another Shawville thing, or is that?
Yeah, Pembroke actually.
Oh, okay.
That's why the family's Pembroke. Yeah, I danced in the morning, 3:52.
No. We are pilgrims.
That's what I got.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, good work on the bickering couple there.
Yeah. See, we're in character.
We were Pilgrims switches out another one later on.
Oh, okay,
So
fine.
you're right, just in the wrong spot.
All right.
So I danced in the morning. Yeah, this is a Sidney Carter hymn. When the United Church's Red Hymn book came out in 1970, this was one of the few new hymns. And Carter was very active in the 1960s, and so it really was a fresh, bold thing. And even to this day, there are people who love it and people who absolutely hate it to death.
Oh, fantastic. So, please chime in the comments which side. If you really hate this, it'll be done in about 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Go make yourself some tea.
Yeah. danced for the scribe and the Pharisee, but they would not dance and they wouldn't follow me. I danced for the fishermen, for James and John. They came with me and the dance went on. Dance then, wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all. Wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all in the dance, said he. I danced on the Sabbath and I cured the lame. The holy people said it was a shame. They whipped and they stripped and they hung me high and left me there on a cross to die. Dance then, wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all. Wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all in the dance, said he. I danced on a Friday when the sky turned black. It's hard to dance with the devil on your back. They bend my body and they cut my bone, but I am the dance and I'll still go on. Dance then, wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all. Wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all in the dance, said he. They cut me down and I lift up high. I am the life that will never ever die. I'll live in you if you live in me. I am the Lord of the dance, said he. Dance then, wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all. Wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all in the dance, said he.
When my band first started touring, there was a Celtic rock band from London, Ontario, that did a drinking version of this song. The chorus was, drink then wherever you may be, for I am the drunken disorderly. It's not bad.
Well, it is a gift to be simple, it is a gift to be kind,
I
right?
suppose it
It's
is.
based on that, so.
Christine, I think you picked this one?
Yeah, I chose We Are One. I think that
Calm us down a bit.
this hymn is just so beautiful, and the thing that I wanted to say about it was when I design my worship services, a lot of people think, okay, well, I just go to the hymn book and I just choose the hymns based on the words. But actually, I base my hymn choices on the tune, and then I check to see that the words are fitting. And now that I know the hymns better, that kind of comes together. But I just think the tune of this is so beautiful, and the words, we are one as we come, joyful to be here. It's like gathering us all in worship, and so that's why I really like this hymn.
We are one as we come, joyful to be here. In the praise on our lips, there's a sense that God is here. We are one as we sing, we are found. As we come, needful of God's grace, as we meet together in this place. We are one as we share brokenness and fear. In the touch of a hand, there's a sense that God is here. We are one as we care, as we heal, we are healed, and we share warmth in God.
that's nice, and that one fits so well, like putting on like a songwriter hat, because it's got so much repetition in it, it's really easy to learn, which is great for a hymn, and especially if you want to introduce a new hymn. Or you can introduce an old hymn, like for instance, did you like that segue? All Things Bright and
Yes,
Beautiful.
very good, Mike.
Thank you. I'm here for segues. So this one, I think we'll just sing the refrain at the beginning in the end. Otherwise, we might go over the hour-long mark. Though I love the refrain in here. So also putting on my songwriter hat, for me, I really like the hymns that don't have a refrain. I don't know where you guys stand on that. I like the ones that are just sort of I like the old style hymn structure of, sort of the Charles Wesley 4 lines, 2 lines, 3rd line different, 4th line, because again, it's easy to learn, it's easy to structure. But when you've got like All Things Bright and Beautiful, that's a killer chorus. So you do want that.
And I think the words are so relatable in this hymn.
Yeah.
We all connect to all of those images, and I think that's one thing that makes it really beautiful.
Yeah, so maybe let's do the beginning and after verse 3 and after verse 5. Did everyone get that at home? It'll be on the closed captions.
All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, in love God made them all. Each little flower that opens, each little bird that sings, God made their glowing colors, God made their tiny wings. Headed mountains, the river running by, the sunset and the morning that brightens up the sky. The pilgrim in the winter, the pleasant summer sun, the ripe fruits in the garden that made them every one. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, in love God made them all. The Rocky Mountains splendor, the lone wolf's haunting call, the Great Lakes and the prairies, the forest in the fall. God gave us eyes to see them, and lips that we might tell how great is God our Maker, who has made all things well. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, in love God made them all.
Very good.
All right, where are we going? Oh, another sort of old school, Melissa.
I grew up in this church, and 2 things that always came back to me were 2 songs: "Holy, Holy, Holy," which we processed in every single morning on Sunday, and then "I Love to Tell the Story," which was one of the hymns that seemed to be something that I recall, pronounced from my childhood. So I picked that one.
Okay.
I love to tell the story of unseen things above, of Jesus and His glory, of
So I think a sign that a hymn is like a real stable or you know, an old chestnut in our church is whenever we have guest speakers or guest ministers, especially like, for instance, last summer and fall, while we were trying to find James, we had a lot of different speakers. I think I played this particular hymn at least 4 different times for 4 different, and you know, and I wasn't going to bellyache about it because no one in the congregation was bellyaching. Oh yeah, no, this one.
Yep.
So James, what are you picking here? And how do you pick a hymn when you're putting together a service?
Some of them I pick just for the words. Like the third hymn often sort of I pick because I want it to be fit with the sermon.
Right.
But my dad, who is also a minister, taught me that the closing hymn has to be a real strong one because, like, if your sermon's an absolute dog, they're not going to remember it. But if the closing hymn is fabulous, they'll walk out thinking, "Oh, what a wonderful service!"
Oh yeah.
So I always pick really strong, you know, rousing hymns to finish off a service just to save my bacon.
And big. Boy, that's showbiz right there.
Absolutely. Go big, go home.
Okay.
And this one, We Are Pilgrims, the servant song, is just one that really, to me, speaks about what the Christian life is all about. And it's associated with, I believe, the L'Arche community as well. And so it's a beautiful one.
Maybe you folks at home don't wish this, but I wish I was playing the organ. Because now that James has sort of said, I want the last hymn to really bring it home, that's sort of just given me license to play the last verse even louder than I usually do. Enjoy the fall. I mean, you won't be singing anyway, so I can be even louder. So we're going to see how structurally sound this church actually is. Sorry, moving on. Christine.
Yeah, I chose As a Fire is Meant for Burning. And this is a relatively new hymn, 1983, but I have a little bit of a story behind this one. And that is, I was serving the congregation of Roxborough United Church in Montreal. And we did a service, I designed a service that was from the very beginning to the very end music. So the call to worship was music, the prayer of approach was music, of course we had the hymns, the prayers were all music. And when I was planning it, I thought, oh dear, I think if I'm going to keep with the theme here, I better sing my sermon. So,
wow, that's pressure.
Yeah. So I decided that this was the song, the hymn that I was going to sing, because I think that this is a perfect sermon in a song. And I don't think I could say or speak a sermon better than this song, because it begins off, as a fire is meant for burning with a bright and warming flame, so the church is meant for mission, giving glory to God's name, which I think is a great beginning. And then at the end it goes, as a rainbow lights the heavens, this is the closing line, when a storm is past and gone, may our lives reflect the radiance of God's new and glorious dawn. I just think it's a really, really great sermon for that. And I also really like the tune. So I did sing it. I sung it in my own kind of crackly voice, and it came from the heart, and I think that's what's important. So
Did you do it a cappella?
no, I had it accompanied. No, I didn't do it a cappella, but yeah, but it was the whole service. So that might be a challenge for you and James.
We're taking this one. We're stealing that idea.
Yeah,
I always steal from the best. I'm stealing that one.
100% music. It's a really fun service to do.
Okay. Yeah, we'll actually
You'll
do
have
it.
to sing your sermon, James.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, we're going to do it full Gilbert and Sullivan. Yeah, it's going to be great. That's all right. Have either of you guys ever met Ruth Duck? She's written a few, especially in more voices. She seems to be very good with her lyrics. Okay, so next up is me, and I picked one that's probably more of a seasonal one. I picked Crown Him with Many Crowns. And I have a couple strong memories of this. The strongest one, though, is the musical director of my home church, St. John's United Church in Hamilton, Ontario. Woo! There's a shout out to Hamilton, Ontario. I know we've got a lot of viewers there, both on the mountain and underneath the mountain, the valley people, we call them. I'm sorry, but when our musical director found out I played trombone, and we had two other in our junior choir who played trumpet in the high school band. So she wrote a whole brass choir version for this. So with one verse that had something one never gets as a trombone player, a trombone melody, which meant that she didn't know what to do with the trumpet, so they just sat that one out. But you know. It was a beautiful moment for me and me alone, but it's still this is a great tune. It's used for many other
And
hymns.
you know, one thing I wanted to say, Mike, was that my memory of this hymn is it being really belted out on the piano, but most of all, an out of tune piano.
Oh.
You know, like
we
you just
got that.
You know, you just and when you play it, it's just so you know, like hard and like a real march, right? So
I don't have a setting on my electric piano for out of tune.
Shoot.
I think any of the acoustic pianos in the building during the humidity would fit the bill.
But you know what I mean, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Though, yeah, anyway, so, maybe sometime if I can find a couple other brass players, we will repeat the brass. And I have a friend who's, just a little aside here, I have a friend who's a high school music teacher, and they're all figuring out during the COVID times how they're going to teach instrumental music. Apparently brass instruments, fine, better than singing, because all the spit and the COVID goes into the instrument. You just put it into a cup, you throw it into a safe place. What's the worst instrument to play during COVID times? Apparently the flute. The flute is death. Yep. You're just spinning over and you're spreading. So yeah, those old, you see those pictures of the U.S. Civil War with the fife and drums. It's the fifes that'll kill you. It's not the guns. Sorry. I've really ruined the spirit of this. Crown him with Mary Crown. I was thinking of that afterwards. We should maybe down the road we'll do a Hump Day hymns where we focus on some descants, because that's kind of a wonderful part of hymn singing is those sort of final verses where they have something that can go. And it's funny when you get sopranos who maybe grew up in a different church or a different tradition. Descants are not standardized. They're just somebody wrote a different harmonization and there it goes. And so, one soprano comes in and starts singing it. It's really nice, but that's not what's written here. Are you going to sing one? Anyway, wow, this has gone really fast. Thanks everyone for being part of this. We'll do this again. We're going to close with one that's in our More Voices hymn book. It's called May God's Sheltering Wings, which we've used at TSA in the past to close a service. We have a new minister now, so who knows what we'll be closing with. Maybe, well, in the musical service, it'll be kind of a reprise of everything else that has gone together. We'll do like this really great medley, and people will be like, we won't have trouble clearing the building. which is what we're going for these days. We have to clear the building quickly in COVID time. So this is May God Sheltering
And I
Wings.
think this is the most contemporary hymn that we've been playing, because it's 2004.
Yes, we boldly entered the 21st
Yes,
century.
yes. So I thought that was worth mentioning.
Definitely. Sheltering wings, her gathering wings protect Thanks everyone for viewing. Hope you were singing along. We've got some really good guests in some upcoming episodes. Next week I'm going to have Tony Stewart, who is the accompanist in Pakenham, but he's also a jazz clarinet player. So we're going to do some jazzy hymns.
Nice.
Following that, a good friend of mine, Laurel Ty, is going to be here. Laurel grew up in a Salvation Army household, so I'm assuming she's a soprano, so I'm looking forward to hearing some Salvation Army descants. And we've also got Alexia Bulger is going to join us in a few weeks. She sang, was our soloist, I think, a couple of weeks ago. So please keep tuning in Wednesdays at 12:30. Thank you.